Guys, the final is finally here. This is what it's all about. This is what the entire season has been played for to decide who the champion of Major League Soccer is going to be. And we have the final two teams, Inter Miami versus the Vancouver Whitecaps, to decide who the best team is in Major League Soccer in 2025. This is going to be a great game. It's hard to believe that the final is already here. It feels like the season was finished in the blink of an eye, and it's I can't believe it's finally here. I just can't believe, and we get these two great teams to clash to see who will win and lift the Philip Anschutz Trophy, which is absolutely incredible. So let's talk about how we got here. Let's talk about the Eastern Western Conference and then talk about the matchup. So we'll start off with Inter Miami versus New York City FC. Now, Inter Miami hasn't had a good record against New York City FC when they were heading into this game. I think they had only won one game against them in the Messi era, lost 8, drew 2. So this was a big game proving that they could beat a team that they had struggled with in this era. And actually, I don't even know if it's just the Messi era. I think that might be their all-time record against New York City FC, just a team that they haven't played well against. But they were hosting this game at home. New York City FC were a team that had been very good on the road in 2025. I mean, they had to be road warriors to get to the Eastern Conference Final. They had to beat Charlotte FC 2 times on the road, and then they had to beat the Philadelphia Union on the road. Then they had to go to Miami and play Miami at Miami and try to win that game if they wanted to go to MLS Cup. So they had a gauntlet to try to get to the MLS Cup Final. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you give us a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're trying to hit 12,000 subscribers by the end of the year. With your help, I know we can do it. We're only 650 away, getting closer and closer thanks to your guys' support, which we greatly appreciate it. So make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. Now, back to the video. And Inter Miami, red hot, came off of beating Nashville SC in their final game, blew them out, went to Cincinnati, beat them 4-0. This was going to be a very interesting game. I was going to see if Miami were going to fall back to reality or if this was true, if they were actually firing on all cylinders and they were that good and they were going to continue to be that good. And it was just an absolute beating. They won 5-1 convincingly. I mean, they were just toying with New York City FC. Now, New York City FC did have their leading scorer, Alonso Martinez, out, but it's still, like, I don't even know if New York City FC would have been able to win, even if he had played. Inter Miami were just toying with them. And I had mentioned this too in the preview video that I did with Michael and Chris, that Messi really, he wasn't bad in this game at all. Like, he wasn't bad, but he didn't really have to do as much. He took away a lot of the attention, but his players around him, his role players, stepped up and they balled out. Tadio Allende scored a hat trick. He scored his 8th goal of the MLS Cup playoffs. I think he's 1 goal away from breaking the MLS record for most goals in the playoffs, which is incredible, considering in previous years there had been 2 legs in certain matchups. So that's actually really impressive. He's probably played less games and he's close to breaking that record. He probably will break that record if he just gets 1 goal. Although there is some concerns he might be a little sick. I think he's still going to play on Saturday, but he's 1 goal away from breaking it. Mateo Silvetti has been incredible for Inter Miami, and he had a goal in that game. And he has been just a breath of fresh air since they benched Luis Suárez. And the attack has just been dynamic. It's been lethal. It's been unstoppable. I mean, they've scored 9 goals in their last 2 matches. I mean, it's absolutely unheard of, especially when you're talking about the MLS Cup playoffs. These are teams that are supposed to be good, and they're just throttling, absolutely thrashing teams in the MLS Cup playoffs. But New York City FC were just no match. They didn't have the attacking prowess. Their backline got exposed. Even though Matt Freese is a good goalkeeper, he just never had a chance. He never had a chance. And now Inter Miami's defense, I don't think looked as good. Noah Allen kind of scares me a little bit. I think that he's got to be very good in the MLS Cup Final, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The back line still scares me a little bit, even though New York City FC really didn't penetrate the back line and they weren't really able to get as many chances as maybe they would have if they'd had Alonso Martinez. But I'm still a little concerned about the back line. Overall, though, very, very solid win, statement win, beating New York City FC to a pulp, 5-1. On the other side, Vancouver versus San Diego FC. This is another interesting matchup because San Diego FC were the 1 seed. Anders Stryer, newcomer of the year, probably would have been MVP of MLS if there wasn't a guy named Lionel Messi. Incredible, incredible player. Having to host Vancouver Whitecaps at home. Vancouver Whitecaps have been an incredible team in 2025. They were good before they got Thomas Müller. They just added, it's like the cherry on top. But was Vancouver going to be able to travel down to San Diego, win a big game on the road against a dynamic, very team-oriented roster or club in San Diego FC? San Diego plays very, very good collective ball as a team. Like, they play as a unit. It's not, even though Andrew Stryer is a superstar in this league, they are just collectively play great team ball. And that's one of the reasons why they've been so good in 2025 as an expansion team. But Vancouver just beat the hell out of them again. They beat the hell out of LAFC in the first half. Now, LAFC didn't make that comeback in the second half, but we saw kind of like what Vancouver did in the first half against LAFC. They did that in the first half against San Diego FC, and it really was never close. And there was a lot of concern about Vancouver because Tristan Blackman, their center back, who won Defender of the Year, was out due to a red card. He was suspended for this game. So I was going to be curious how they were going to play Anders Stryer and if they were going to be able to contain him. And they did. They shut Anders Stryer down. And I know I said that they play good team ball, and they do. But when you take him out of the game, it really just kind of holds everything else up. They never had a chance, I don't think, after that. When Anders Stryer was taken out, they didn't have a chance. But in the second half, I have to mention that when Chucky Lozano came in the 60th minute or 49th minute, I think, but he scored the goal in the 60th minute, they looked like a different team. They looked like a different team. And they were able to score a goal, and they did threaten a little bit down the stretch. But Vancouver was just clearly the better team. They have the pacey wingers in Sabi Ahmed, and Brian White is starting to get back into form. Thomas Müller didn't really have to even do anything. Cubas has been an incredible, incredible midfielder for Vancouver this year. I'm very interested to see what he does against Miami. Just a great game. Great game by Vancouver, and to prove that they really are the best team in the Western Conference. And Takaoka was incredible in goal as well. They're able to get the win 3-1 to advance to the MLS Cup Final to take on Inter Miami. Now, I think that these two teams, Inter Miami versus Vancouver, I think they're the two best teams in Major League Soccer in 2025. Now, neither one of them were the first seeds in either one of their respective conferences, but I think when you look at them collectively throughout the 2025 season, they were the two best teams in the entire league. They're also the two deepest teams in the entire league. I think they have the best rosters, and I think they play the best consistently, which kind of go hand in hand, right? You normally, if you have a deep team, you're able to play better consistently because you can rotate guys. So I think they're the two best teams in Major League Soccer. I don't think it's even close. And they get to match up in the MLS Cup Final to see who is the best team. Now, obviously, Inter Miami are going to host this game versus Vancouver because they have more points in the MLS table. So they're going to host this game. Vancouver have to travel all the way from Canada, obviously, Vancouver, Canada, to Miami, which are the two furthest clubs from each other in the entire league. I think it's like 3,500 miles. Maybe it's even more than that. Maybe it's 4,000 miles. It's a long distance. It's not going to be easy to make that travel, but I think Vancouver will be fine. I think that that's not going to be an issue. Now, I want to point this out before we get to the matchup of this game. These teams played each other twice earlier this season. Now, these teams looked a little different at the time. There was no Thomas Müller. There was no Mateo Silvetti for Inter Miami at that time. But in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, Vancouver and Inter Miami played in the semifinal. Vancouver won the first leg 2-0 at Vancouver in a pretty dominant fashion. And then I think there's like 50,000 fans there. Vancouver's been showing out this year for their team, which you love to see. But they beat them 2-0. And at that point, I thought, okay, well, it's going to be one of those things like I just mentioned about how travel is going to play a factor. Inter Miami is going to look worse on the road. Vancouver is going to look worse on the road. Like the home team is going to have a significant advantage, right? That would make sense. You don't have to obviously travel as far. The home team is going to have a little bit of an advantage. So they win 2-0, goes back to Miami, and Inter Miami just need 2 goals to tie it up, and it goes to extra time or then penalties. So they just needed 2 goals at home. Inter Miami's been very good at home this year, but they got beat down. They lost 3-1 at home. Inter Miami did. So they lost on aggregate 5-1 to Vancouver. Vancouver absolutely clocked them in the face. I mean, it wasn't even close. And I don't think that that doesn't really reflect Miami's team and how good they've been in 2025. In championship games or tournaments, they really haven't performed as well outside of the Club World Cup, Leagues Cup. Well, they did make the Leagues Cup final, but they didn't win the final. They obviously lost 3-0 to Seattle, and they lost this game in the semifinals. But I don't think that that's the same team. I don't think either one of these teams are the same teams they were back in the spring or in April. I think they're much better. Both of them are much better right now. So I just wanted to mention that they played each other at that time, but I don't think that that's going to be an indication of who's going to win this game, right? So let's talk about this matchup. It's going to be obviously the two headlines of Messi versus Muller. Now, Muller, like I mentioned earlier, the team was good without him. He's just the cherry on top. He didn't make them good. Now, Messi did make Inter Miami good, right? Obviously, he's the kind of like the nucleus of this team. He's the engine of this team. But they're going to get the headlines. Obviously, we know the rivalry. We know that they played in the 2014 World Cup and Germany beat Argentina 1-0. And so there's a little bit of a rivalry there. I know it's not as big as Ronaldo or Messi. Obviously, guys, we know that. But there is a little bit of something there. I mean, why would you not be upset with someone who beat you in the World Cup? Your first World Cup you ever played in. I would assume Messi wants to win this trophy for many reasons. Thomas Müller wants to win this trophy for many reasons. Both teams want to win this trophy for many reasons, right? But, it does spark a little bit of a rivalry when you've played another player in big games. I mean, let's be honest, it does. But the keys to this game is not either one of those guys, in my opinion. Messi's going to do what Messi does. Muller probably is going to do what Muller does. But it's always about what the guys around them do. Who's going to step up? Who's going to be the player that helps Messi or Muller out, right? Who's going to ball out? We know they're going to do their job for the most, well, at least Muller is for the most part. But who's going to help them out? And Inter Miami side, Tadeo Allende, like we talked about earlier, has 8 goals in the MLS Cup playoffs. He has helped Messi out. When Inter Miami struggles, it's because they rely too much on Messi and nobody around him does anything. Luis Suárez, La Tortuga, struggling to score, struggling to walk, struggling to breathe, struggling to not fight someone or spit on someone, right? They need the surrounding players to step up and help out. Mateo Silvetti, when Luis Suárez got suspended, he got the start, and it revolutionized. It changed this team. The attack was much better. They had someone who can actually run, someone who could make plays on the wing, who could cross the ball. How many crosses have we seen Inter Miami score because of Mateo Silvetti? He's been incredible. And I feel like when that happened, it had changed the whole entire team. Credit to Javier Mascherano for doing that and keeping it the way and riding the hot streak of this current lineup. Now, on Vancouver's side, you need to have the midfield win. You need to have the midfield dominate. You need to have Cubas. Now, there's been a lot of debate about Cubas, if he dominated Messi in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Did he? Didn't he? I think he looked good against Inter Miami in the CONCACAF Champions Cup in early or late April, earlier in this year. I think he's really good. I think he is an important piece for Vancouver in this game. I think the midfield is going to be a battle. But if I had to pick who I think is going to really decide who's going to win this game, and I said that it's going to be the role players, but I think more specifically, it's going to be the back lines. I think it's going to be Vancouver getting Tristan Blackman back. Obviously, they've got Ocampo. They've got Johnson at left back. There's a lot riding on these back lines to hold up because of the attacking power on both sides. Now, on Inter Miami side, Noah Allen, Maxi Falcone, are they going to be able to hold up? Are they going to be able to stop Brian White? Is Jordi Alba and Chelo Wenget going to be able to stop Ahmed and Sabi, who are pacey? Inter Miami struggles when they play fast, pacey wingers. They're not, I don't want to say they're slow, which they kind of are. I mean, Jordi Alba is almost 30. I think he's 36 years old. He's not as fast as he once was, and that's no knock on him. He's still great in the attack. But when they have pacey wingers, it gives them trouble. And then on the other side, like I said, Inter Miami's attack has been great. They scored 9 goals in the last 2 games. Both of these backlines are going to be tested. And then Rocco Rios Novo in goal for Inter Miami. Is he going to be able to continue to do a solid job in goal and not concede any shots or goals? Is Takaoka going to be able to keep his hot streak of being able to save some key shots? I mean, he was crucial in the LAFC match, and he was very good in the San Diego FC match as well. So I think the back lines are going to be the ones who decides who wins this game, because here's my thoughts. This is my prediction. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game because both of these attacks and both these teams are great at scoring goals. They score in droves. Both of them do. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and it's going to come down to whose defense had the better day, whose backline, whose goalkeeper had the better game. And I think that it's going to probably be Inter Miami's. I got Inter Miami winning this 4-3 over Vancouver. That's my prediction, 4-3. I think we're going to get a 7-goal game in this match. It's going to be the best MLS Cup of all time because of viewership, because of the memories, because of the performance, because of the goals, all the above. It's going to be the best MLS Cup of all time. And the names, right? Muller versus Messi, the send-off of Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, these guys, maybe Luis Suarez. This is his last game with Inter Miami. All these guys, all these key players that have played with Messi and Inter Miami, this could be their, most of them, it is their last game, but Luis Suarez is probably also his last game, I would bet. It's going to be a memorable moment. His last game some of these guys will ever play. So I think with all the fireworks, the expectations, the matchup, it's going to be great, guys. It's going to be one of the best games we've ever watched. And I think it's going to come down to the back lines for both teams on who is going to have the better day. The attacks are going to be good. We know they're going to be good. But who's going to be the last man standing? Who's going to get the most goals? And I also want to point out Brian White, too, of Vancouver. I mentioned this in the preview. Brian White's going to have a big game, too. He's going to have to bully Noah Allen if Vancouver wants to win this game. He's coming back from injury. He did play 90 minutes against San Diego FC, but they need him to be as good as he was earlier in the season if they want to put pressure on Inter Miami and win this game. The wingers are going to be good. Ahmed and Sabi, they need Brian White to be good. And Inter Miami, keep doing what you're doing, Tadio Allende. Keep doing what you're doing, Mateo Silvetti and Messi. And I think that they're going to, I think it's going to be a great, great, great game. Rodrigo De Paul, too, also want to mention he needs to have a big game, too. He's been disappointing this year, especially with his price tag. He needs to have a very, very good game in the midfield because he's going to be challenged with Cubas and Sebastian Berhalter. I mean, it's just going to be, this is what you would hope for. This is the biggest game, the best matchup. I can't wait to see what happens, guys. And don't forget, we're going to do a live watch along for the MLS Cup Final on Saturday. It's going to start at 2:20. I hope to see all you guys there. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section, who do you have winning MLS Cup in 2026? Do you have Inter Miami or the Vancouver Whitecaps? Let me know down below. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, this is the last match of the 2025 season. Make sure you guys give us a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. And until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.